Welcome into a One Take Podcast, episode 186. This week we are reviewing We Live in Time. We are out here doing what Dex has always said at the
We're
end of
living
every
the gimmick,
podcast.
baby.
We are supporting Florence Pugh. Thank you for joining us. I'm Royden, joined by Tej and Dex as always. We were gone for 2 weeks. As you know, if you've followed this podcast, you know that we have no release schedule whatsoever.
Just vibing.
Just whenever we can get to the movies. And this isn't even the 10th most popular movie in America right now, but it's one that we said that we were going to do, and all the rest are like horror movies. So and Venom 2. So fuck no, I'm good. Like
Venom 3. Where's the
Venom,
map, dude?
Venom 3. Ugh.
I haven't heard one thing about that film. Obviously I have not seen it. I literally have not heard one thing about that film.
I haven't heard anybody talk about it.
I finally fucking won. We destroyed the Marvel, the Sony villain verse. It's destroyed. I haven't seen one mention of this film on my timeline at all. My algorithm has won. And also, this is definitely going to happen to whatever the next movie is, the fucking Wolfman or whatever that shit is. And them shits are going to disappear into the ether.
Craven.
We have finally accomplished what we set out to accomplish. Is if we can do this next to Avatar, we are the most powerful podcast in the country. I guarantee you.
God, if we can kill Avatar, holy shit.
We have several people in our group message that would be very mad at you even suggesting such a thing.
Yeah. If we could kill Avatar, I would feel so powerful, because killing Venom 3, which I don't think even the most hardcore Venom fans were asking for, doesn't feel like that big of an accomplishment. But
are there hardcore Venom fans?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of Tom Hardy people.
It's a lot of Eminem fans. If you do a Venn diagram of the Eminem fan base and the Venom fan base, it's like a perfect circle.
I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. For years now, I will just randomly crack up at him just going, Venom.
I was going to say this. Venom.
Some of the worst. You can't imagine the feeling of my heart. I like comic book movies. I like superheroes. I like villains. The first time I saw a trailer which had aggressive Eminem playing and Venom making jokes, I said, what happened to the game that I used to love? Venom is not funny. Venom is a true villain. He's evil. Now we're making fucking wisecracks and Venom is 5'4". No, thank you, bros. Those movies have never appealed to me, not for 1 second ever. And I'm glad that I've never seen one. I'm happy about that.
Yeah, so
speaking of superheroes,
Florence Pugh is going to dominate at the cinema this year. But this is a movie that was touted for a long time. I think it played at some festivals. There was early Oscar buzz that's since died down, I think. I mean, maybe we could support Florence Pugh all the way into like a Golden Globe nomination for this.
Yeah, but maybe we can do that.
Yeah,
I think our support will take her only as far as the Golden Globes for this particular film, but we still have the Thunderbolts Oscar campaign that we can start kickstart on our podcast. So I think we're okay.
A movie that is totally going to be fine. Between that and the Captain America sequel that was like reshot 5 times.
The Thunderbolts also live in time. Like it's perfect synergy here.
Yeah, we live in so many times.
We Live in Time, rated R movie, 7.3 on IMDb, hour and 48 minutes long. Oh, chef's kiss.
Yeah, I did like that about the movie.
An up and coming,
get me out.
Yeah, exactly. An up and coming chef and a recent divorcee find their lives forever changed when a chance encounter brings them together in a decade-spanning, deeply moving romance. I will just spoil the movie for you. The the chance encounter, she hits him with his car.
It's in the trailer. That's not a spoiler.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So great meet cute there. It was directed by John Crowley, written by Nick Payne, stars Andrew Garfield, Florence Pugh, and a host of other character actors that you may know from some British television shows. But I think Douglas Hodge is probably the most memorable name out of but it's a true two-hander between those two. They are on screen, either one of them, 90% of the time. And this movie did okay business. Let me see. I think, it did. I'm not even going to play the guessing game because it doesn't have what it cost to make, but it was $18 million worldwide. over the past couple of weeks. I'm sure this will be on streaming in a flash. Pretty good reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, 78% critic score, 84% Metascore. Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh's palpable chemistry will snatch audiences' hearts before breaking them. And We Live in Time, a powerful melodrama that uses its nonlinear structure to thoughtfully explore grief. And I want to start there, Dex. Of course, like always, say what you think of the movie, but what did you think about the storytelling device? Now, not, I don't wouldn't say a gimmick, but it is now almost overused, the time hopping thing that we're doing in movies now. I'll just say I found it okay, but what did you think of that as a whole?
Yeah, in watching this movie, I realized I've grown to hate that.
Yeah, okay.
See, yeah, it's become pretty annoying. I think like the two, while we've been doing this podcast, the two things that I've discovered that I absolutely 99% of the time hate in movies is narration and nonlinear storytelling. You can pull it off occasionally, right? Like Oppenheimer pulled it off. You can do that sometimes, but Oppenheimer, this movie ain't. Like it's just not. I think this movie, it is what it says it is, like you watch the trailer and you're like, oh, that's going to be a very sad, like romantic drama movie and I'm going to cry. And Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield are going to act their asses off as they always do. They've never missed. And yeah, that's what you're going to get, right? It's not like it's not the greatest movie I've ever seen. It's not a bad movie. You come in and you're like, oh, this is cute. This is adorable. Oh, it's very sad now. And then it's over. So yeah. It's really good. Florence Pugh it's impossible for Florence Pugh to be bad in a movie. I haven't seen it yet. And she's really good in this. I admire her commitment to shaving her head. She loves to do that for whatever reason.
Stop.
Leave it alone. Let it grow. But yeah, her and Andrew Garfield are both really good as always in this. I think the story at the center of it is very moving, like the Rotten Tomatoes synopsis said. You meet these two and they're actually, I don't even remember where you meet them at what point they are in their lives, but the meet cute.
He's divorced in a going nowhere job and disenfranchised.
Yeah, he like works for a cereal company or some shit.
Yeah, and she is just out of a relationship that you learn sort of in passing, but just out of a relationship with the lead chef or just opening a restaurant, a head chef of a restaurant. So she's doing way better than he is, but she hits him with his car or with her car. So
she hits him with her car, and it's like, damn, that's jarring. That's a lot. But the movie like makes it work, and their relationship is actually like, I wouldn't call it like realistic, but it feels sensible for a movie. They have fights that are normal fights that you would have, especially when Florence Pugh gets the big sick eventually. And it makes sense that she's under all this pressure and she's trying to accomplish something with her life, and he is like, trying to be the loving husband who's taking care of everything and making her feel better and all this other stuff. And yeah, I enjoyed that part of it. But like I said, this movie isn't groundbreaking. It's not anything super crazy, unexpected from what you saw in the trailer. I think this will bang whenever it hits whatever streaming service it's going to be on. People are going to be like, have y'all heard about this movie? And we're going to say, yes, we did. We saw it. We were there. Support Florence Pugh. But yeah, it doesn't have to be more than that. And I don't think it tries to. It feels like A24, they knew they had an easy one here, and they just took the single. And the ending.
Oh, that's right. This is an A24 movie. That feels so out of place, doesn't it?
Yeah, the single makes so much sense. I didn't think about it like that, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, move the runner over, and it continues. Mm-hmm. We got Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield. We got their contacts in the phone now. We can just keep making other shit. Let's go. I give it a B.
Tej, it took you 2 weeks to finish this movie.
I thought I was going to end up being lower on this than Dex was, but I had it about a B. Maybe I would say a B minus. It's a good movie. Like it's made well Florence Pugh is always so interesting to see on screen. Like, no matter what she's doing, she's one of those people that it doesn't matter how good or bad something is, I'm going to enjoy her performance. I felt the same way about this film. I like Garfield. I don't love Garfield in this film, and I don't love. There's something.
Can I tell you a couple of things? Can I crib whatever you're going to do real quick? I just wanted to say, Garfield does this thing when he's trying to be a normal dude, which he comes off as a normal dude. He's a theater nerd. I mean, all these guys are, but he's a theater nerd at heart, and he likes to play characters in his Oscar nominated performances and stuff. He's playing characters. When he's a real person, Andrew Garfield, or not Spider-Man or whatever, he kind of does his whisper talk thing.
Yeah.
And
I agree with that.
Really quiet, and it's a character choice, but he's really quiet and kind of bookish and subtle with a lot of what he does when he's just normal guy Andrew Garfield. And impish, I guess is the word probably, but that, and it also just becomes Florence Pugh's movie. At the back half 100%. Of the movie is just her story, which for good reasons, and we can get into it later. But that's why my theory on it, why I think that
was a sound decision to make it her story. This is a good movie. It's obviously a lot of hard hitting emotional stuff. It's a little funny, although it's not very funny. I didn't laugh very many times, although there are times where you realize that they're making a cute joke. So it's a lot more rom than com. That's kind of not the mix of, and I guess this is only a rom-com by title, and it is in some ways a rom-com, but really it's much more of a drama than it is a comedy. Although it's not they're basically using comedy to make light of heavy moments. And so I was into this movie, but I didn't love it. It's like these two people have chemistry, and again, I watched Florence Pugh do a little bit of everything, but I can't. This movie didn't inspire me very much. It was just okay, I understand it's a great idea. You got two good people together. We're gonna shoot out of order to make it more artsy, but at the end of the day, I just felt like it was okay. Also, one of the decisions they make towards the end of the movie just kind of doesn't make sense to me. When they have the fight where this is a spoiler, they have a fight where she wants to go do the chef thing, but it happens to fall on the day of their wedding. I feel like anyone in that situation, especially a good guy, he's supposed to be a good guy, a supportive guy. I feel like anyone in that situation would be you're dying of cancer. If you need to accomplish this, it's fine. We can get married the next day, or we can get married at any time. Our wedding can still happen. It just won't happen on that day. And so the fact that ended up being a real plot point in the movie, I was very confused by, because I didn't understand why. It's one thing if she was I can't marry you, I have to go do this chef thing. But it was literally the only issue was that they happened to be on the same date. I feel like that's easily fixed.
She didn't.
Yeah, she didn't tell him.
She didn't tell him was the whole thing.
She didn't tell him that she was doing the. Oh, okay, got it.
That was the big thing, was she didn't tell him, and in fact had not been telling him that she was competing and sort of almost shirking her healthcare journey, I guess.
Yeah, she shirked her healthcare journey and also just left their daughter at daycare or whatever.
Yeah, in the rain. Yeah,
I didn't fundamentally understand why this has to be a secret. If you're having a secret life, that's interesting, but your secret life being I'm just grinding real hard at the thing that I love the most, if she was playing Call of Duty as opposed to being a chef, would that be different? I find it to be weird. You are one of the best at what you do, and you're dying, and you want to go win a championship like LeBron James. I think that's a perfectly normal thing to say to your partner when you're dying of cancer. Hey, my real dream, I love you, I love your support, but really I want to go win an NBA championship before I die. I feel like any loving partner would appreciate that. Say, hey, you're dying. I know I want to spend as much time with you as possible, but also you still have time on the clock to go accomplish your dream. It felt like creating that tension in the middle of their relationship just kind of made no sense to me through the whole movie. It did not, to me, feel like a realistic portion of where to put your tension. At first, I thought when they had the conversation where she was like, let's just do 6 good months and let's not do the chemo thing again. I thought that was going to be the tension. And to me, I was like, oh, I kind of like that. I'm in. This is going to be I don't want to do therapy. I don't want to do this chemotherapy versus I want you as long as possible. And that is a fundamental romantic tension that you can immediately understand both sides of it immediately. This whole, like, I want to be a super chef, but I don't want to tell you about a thing. It did not create tension for me like it was probably intended to on the piece of paper. But I thought they had good chemistry. I also was very shocked that Florence Pugh like took her shirt off in this movie, and that like she's gonna keep taking her shirt off. It's just
why would you be shocked?
I know that she does it a lot, but this didn't feel like the movie that would give you nudity. It didn't feel like. That's when I had to remind myself, like, this is an A24 movie. Like, this is not a Nicholas Sparks movie. This is not The Notebook. This is an A24 movie. There's going to be some titties in here, but I was very shocked when it happened. But I would also give it a B. I enjoyed the performances enough, but it's not a movie that I'm probably ever going to revisit or think about again after this podcast, if I'm being honest. But I just love Florence Pugh. I'll fucking put on Don't Worry, Darling just to feel something again. And that's the worst movie ever. But I think her performance is so interesting. And I think this performance is kind of interesting, but not. I've seen her be way more interesting in stuff that's better written. So I would give it a B.
Yeah, she's made some interesting choices in her career, and I think a lot of things are always just like, can we give her, and we've said it on this podcast a lot, is can we give her better stuff to do or bigger things in bigger projects? Like, she's barely in Dune 2, and obviously she's going to have a bigger role in Dune 3 or Dune Messiah. And the way that they treated her character in Oppenheimer is just like
whack,
a crime. And
worst part of that movie, which is very good, but like, fuck, dude.
And she's just like, but she's made a couple of these slice of life movies, including that A Good Person movie, which no one saw, and I don't think we even saw it, which we've seen almost everything that she's been in. It's on Prime Video. I think we need to get on that. But like I said, I like the relationship. I felt like it was, again, a good slice of life movie with human stakes. And again, this isn't really a spoiler, I don't think. And Tej even said it. She gets cancer. That, as a plot driving device, of course, has been done in movies. I wouldn't say to better effect, but just almost
we've seen it enough
to a fault. We've done it a lot. But in fairness, it is sort of the big thing in most people's lives, I will say. Like, it's job promotions, it's deaths in the family, or it's cancer. It's like the big things that happen in everyday people's lives. Everyday people aren't going out and hitting the game-winning 3 or making $1 billion or doing these extraordinary things that we see that our idols do. Most people are getting up, going to work, and then they get struck by something that's unspeakable. And, hopefully you go your entire life without it, but more and more people we've learned are just getting cancer, and it's just happening, and it affects you. Probably know someone in your life with cancer. And so, like, that as a storytelling device, I don't think we'll ever get past. It's fine. It works here. That being said, I thought I would be more sad when this movie wrapped up. And it is inherently a heartbreaking ending, no matter how you look at it. But you see it barreling down the tracks at you at 150 miles an hour. The ending of this movie, especially just the way that it eventually stops sort of doing the time hopping thing, and at the very end of the movie really just steamrolls into, we are in the final act and we are where they are currently in life. I enjoyed go ahead.
They also like just kind of stop even like pretending that she might live
right
in this movie.
Yeah.
Obviously, like Tej mentioned, they do the I just want 6 good months thing, but yeah, they have a couple doctor's visits where she like gets the news and all of that, but other than that, they're just kind of like, yep, it's over. We're just waiting to see when.
Yeah, and the way they ended it's very tasteful ending. That they didn't do the whole
dramatic death scene
maestro thing from last year where it was just the hardest thing to watch. What's her face die of cancer? the entire Carey Mulligan just die of cancer in her bed. Like, ugh, we didn't do that. So, that's a plus in my book, to be completely honest with you. But I enjoyed it. I thought their performances, this is something that I don't know if it makes sense, but hopefully it will. They put on two very human performances. Yes. I think when we see a lot of actors act and stuff nowadays, like people just aren't human anymore in anything because things are so big or grand scale or horror movies or whatever, that we're all trapped in genre right now. And I think with this, it's like just a very, I'm going to say this again, very human movie and a very lived in characters. You could see where their lives existed outside of this. Now she's a little she's like extra special. She's a incredible chef, like Michelin star chef, and also was a champion figure skater.
Yeah, so like a champion figure skater, so she's always been competitive.
Yeah, she's like larger than life, and Andrew Garfield's just kind of this dude. But it is really, I don't think you could have found two better match actors to play these roles. And I just believed a lot of it. And that is something to be said about a lot of these movies is, do I believe where you are? And I really enjoyed that. Like I said, I was expecting to be more sad at the end of it. And to that end, people were boo-hooing when we left the theater. I was in there. It was me, my wife, and like 40 college girls were in there to see that movie. And the women in that theater were sobbing. And I felt bad because I wasn't so enraptured by it.
Like, damn, am I the asshole?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't see it in a movie theater, so that might have something to do with it. And I felt like emotional. I was like, oh, okay. But it was obviously extremely predictable that she was going to die. I really liked the way they did it of just having him show up, with the daughter, and you see that they have the dog. Like, that's a very, very great way to show like somebody has passed on. I thought it was a rare great decision in the movie to not try to like draw it out and make it like, here's the big scene where she's dying of cancer. Like, you can be a lot more subtle than that. I thought that was a great decision. And it made me feel something, but I didn't cry. And I cried extremely easily.
Me too.
I find it very easy to lean into that, but it didn't quite get me there. But I'm not surprised that you were in a theater and a bunch of people were crying. I think it could definitely get people there for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if people were very emotional watching it.
In fact, our our media literacy, which is something that everybody loves to talk about these days, was hilarious because one of the girls, as we were walking out, leaned to her partner and said, "Did she die?" And I'm like, "No, she's just not at home anymore." They just had her figure skating off into the distance, and she's not dead. She's gonna come in the door any minute. Like, come on.
Rumor has it she's up there cooking on Chopped right now.
Yeah. So I gave it a B+. I thought it was a really good movie. I'm interested to see what this writer director goes on to do, but I'm writer and director goes on to do. But more so than that, I'm just glad that we got to see two good actors play normal people in a above the board movie. And I love that. Give me more of that, please. That'd be great. Also, hour and 48 minutes. Again, chef's kiss. Incredible.
After watching Joker 2, which I think was the last episode that we did, it's like this is what you can get when you just have normal people being normal, telling a normal story. And, not trying to troll us by making a courtroom drama musical.
Bad art.
Isn't Joker 2 already streaming now?
Yes, so you can buy it. You can buy it.
Oh, it's like on demand. It's not.
You can buy it on demand.
Don't do that.
I've seen a couple people that said, I haven't seen it, but I'm going to watch it when it gets on streaming." And I told all of them, just don't do that. Like, there's literally no reason for you to do that. I love Lady Gaga too. Just support the new album. Like, don't go see this film.
Yeah, stream Die with a Smile and just keep it at that. Like, we don't have to.
Bruno Mars and her put out the best song of the year, and we just need to support that.
You can support Lady Gaga in other ways. You don't need to do what you don't need to waste your time of Todd Phillips just saying, "I'm just going to show you my ass for this whole movie," and the fact that you had the audacity to walk to this movie theater, I'm going to shit all over you and everything that you love, and I'm going to make you feel something that's going to be nothing but misery. You don't need to be put through that.
Yeah, definitely go watch The Star Is Born again and stream Shallow, and
There you go.
that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. So we don't have to spend like a ton of time on this. We can have a shorter episode, but I want to go back to real quick the time hopping storyline, because you figure out really quick, like again, like Florence Pugh, different hair throughout the entire movie. You can kind of tell when they are, and then they have a daughter or they don't have a daughter. Oh, the one scene in the time hopping thing leads into probably one of the best scenes that I will say this that I've seen in a movie theater this year. The having the baby in the gas station bath
Oh, the gas station
is incredible. I thought that was the best scene of the movie. I laughed. I nearly cried. I thought that was poignant and beautiful and hilarious. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, that ruled. Like even them like having to break down the door, like was just...
Yeah. That was the funniest part of the movie too. And they're like, he's like, "There's a head." He's like freaking out.
The what?
Yeah, exactly. And I thought all of that, and now maybe people will watch it and be like, "That's not an accurate display of pregnancy or whatever." But I was just like that. I thought that scene was beautiful. I thought it was.
I thought that was very effective, and that was the one scene where I should have pointed out where I was laughing pretty hard. I thought that was very, very well done.
Yeah, and it was like weirdly tense for this movie. Like, you know, there's not a whole lot of like, you know, oh my god, what's about to happen in this movie? But that was one of those moments where it was like, fuck, like this is intense shit right here.
Yeah, so I'm just interested in the device of time hopping is, I'm trying to think of other movies that have done this that are this, but now's the wrong word, but just sort of I don't know what
Grounded?
the word I'm looking. Yeah, grounded, normal. Like I don't know what the word that have used, and maybe they used it to spice up how they were wanting to tell this story. But again, Dex, I kind of am with your point where it's a fun filmmaking choice if you want to make a different kind of movie. But with something like this, and maybe it was to spice up an otherwise, I don't know, bland story, I guess, of just a couple going through their everyday life. Yeah, you don't have to do it.
Yeah, you don't have to do this. Like it makes sense if there is like I'm struggling to think of like good examples of this, but there are some movies where like they revealed basically all the information that you need, like as you need it, and that's why it's out of order, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But this movie, it's like you could have just played it straight.
Yeah, like, I agree with that.
Like you said, Christopher Nolan does this in every movie.
It just felt like they put a filter on the movie. Like they wrote the movie, they were like, how do we spice this up just a little bit more? Oh, just show it out of order. Like it literally felt like that. And it felt like this movie was shot, not necessarily shot in order, but at some point in the creative process, conceived as a story in order, and then something was made a decision later to just put it out of order, because you literally could have, it didn't feel like we were getting stuff that was going to inform the other scene you saw, even though the other scene you saw was in the future. It didn't feel like those things were like intentionally planted throughout the script. Man, maybe I'm wrong, but I didn't get the sense that what I saw in the scene in the past is supposed to inform the scene I saw before that was in the future. It didn't feel that way to me. It just felt like one story that was out of order.
Yeah, and I always go back to like a British romantic comedy that I think is my favorite. It's called About Time, which also is like one of the somehow saddest movies of all time. And it's not necessarily a time hopping movie, but there's literal time travel in it. And they use that as a story device to spice up this slice of life story about this guy, and he has this power in it, and it sort of shapes how he goes about his life. That is done to better effect than just simply we're this is 2009, now we're in 2015, now we're back in 2009, you know, like it doesn't have to be that way.
It also just feels like the movie is called We Live in Time, so they were like,
Yeah.
let's just put it out of order.
Yeah, I thought
Like,
that too, and I was disgusted with it. I was like, I hope that's not how they came up with the fucking title of this film, because that's not like what are we doing? Like what are we really doing?
and that's also like really the only connection there is to the
Yeah.
title, like in the movie. Like that's the only way the title makes sense is that it's out
Yuck.
of order.
That couldn't have been the best title on the board. I would love to see the other 10 titles that they toss around, and I guarantee you half of them were better than that, if that's why this movie's called that. And I can't think of another reason why this movie's called that, and I didn't like that.
We Live in Time. Ugh, yeah.
We Live in London in 2010.
Shit happens. Life's a bitch and then you die.
Yeah, I mean, like Love and Other Drugs, I think kind of does this as well too. The Jake Gyllenhaal and Hathaway movie, if I'm thinking correctly, it does a little bit of that as well. I'm just looking at movies, but I mean, this is everything is similar. It's not as funny as The Big Sick, you know. It's as romantic
Big Sick
as a
is
lot of
super hilarious. So that's a tough one.
The one it directly cribs from, and there was a Netflix series, but there was a movie with Anne Hathaway. The Netflix series is really, really good. We watched it recently. It's One Day, where a couple or a couple that goes back and forth about like will they, won't they relationship sort of meets at one day every couple of years, and it shows you one day of their relationship every so often. It doesn't like jump back and forth, but it jumps in time in that way, and it uses the time. It like almost directly cribs from that, and like About Time. This is not a movie that, like we've said, like you'll leave and be like, I haven't seen that before. It's just not like it takes from a lot of other things, but what really makes it worth seeing is Florence Pugh and to an extent Andrew Garfield. But in the fact that I do think it's funny that at a certain point the director and the writer were like, this is just Florence Pugh's movie. Like at the end of the movie. I just thought like the last like 30 minutes of it.
Yeah, it's just her movie.
Yeah, and also like being honest, you have to like not let Florence Pugh say anything if you want her to avoid her stealing your movie.
Yeah,
like, you know, Oppenheimer,
that.
They're like, we're going to literally kill her off. I mean,
we're going to literally kill her immediately because we know that she will steal this shit.
Yeah,
and she will.
We can't have her talk too much. Yeah, same with
by the end of the movie, you would have been like, maybe Florence Pugh came up with the atomic bomb. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure. So they were like, we gotta get her out of here so you can focus on the star.
Because she's just like that, you know. She's her. And yeah, Andrew Garfield really doesn't have a shit ton going for him at any point in this movie.
Yeah, what are we gonna do? Sit with him and watch him sell insurance? Like, we don't want to hang out with him.
Yeah. As soon as he gets hit by the car, it's kind of over for him. Like he met Florence Pugh, they fell in love, and there it is. He's here now.
He made the LeBron James of cooking. Like that's the accomplishment that he had.
Yeah, and they don't really do the thing where they sort of have the gender role reversal that you would see in another movie where it's like the woman or something is or whoever in the relationship is tired of like living in the coattails of this really they don't really do that, but
there's
some of that in there of that like he's kind of really taking care of their daughter and so on and letting her live her dreams, but they really kind of avoid setting up the relationship in that way, which I appreciated.
Yeah, there's the scene where he like just didn't know she was famous before.
Yeah.
Like he knew that she was like a famous chef who was like killing shit there or whatever, but he's like, oh, you were also a figure skater?
You didn't realize the level.
You just were never gonna mention that.
Yeah, he gets his one moment, I would say, where he gets to do the "You complete me" speech where he walks into like the wedding shower.
Yeah.
He gets to do his bit there and like perform in front of all of her friends. And I think that was kind of his bit.
That's when he got to do his big one.
And then, of course, like the argument at the end of the movie where they're kind of yelling at each other and not trying to wake up their daughter, I think is like the big one as well. But again, it really becomes her pursuit of trying to live the rest of her life towards the back half of the movie.
How'd y'all feel about their big breakup scene where they fight over her not wanting kids?
I thought it was fine because, I mean, again, these are like milestones. I mean, he just walks out, which felt like a very real moment where he's like, I just don't want to argue with you over this. I'm 38
just
years
like
old.
ended the conversation. Maybe he's like, no, all right, I'm done. I got no more.
Yeah, I feel like divorce dudes are just like that. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, well,
I see where this is going. No, I'm good, bros.
Yeah, exactly. Like, even though you are Florence Pugh, no thanks. You know, he's like, I am Andrew Garfield, even though he's kind of a nerd. Like, he's like, I think I could do okay down the road, but
yeah, it's like, well, you don't want kids, I do. I guess we're done.
yeah, it felt very real. I just, again, it's touchstones in people's lives that they choose to focus on. You know, whether or not the cancer thing, anyone can relate to that who's watching the movie. I believe that a lot of people can, but you know, those things that are now pretty visible touchstones of people's lives, like having kids in their mid 30s, or you know, like cancer, so on and so forth, career stuff. It's nothing extreme like, hey babe, I inherited $1.5 million. How are we going to divide this up? You know, I don't know. Like, I don't know what extreme things would have been put into a movie like this, but you know, we're going to space. You know, I don't know what it would have been, but I found it all pretty. I found it all pretty good. Yeah, it's like, yeah, we got a scene on Blue Origin. You know,
I got bit by a radioactive spider.
Yeah, normal things that you would see in normal everyday life. Yeah, Dex, I want you to touch on this, and I know we've touched on it on previous podcasts before, and but what makes Florence Pugh, and kind of the reason that we got on that train early, but what makes Florence Pugh sort of stand out among her peers? Zendaya, who is having a run of her own, but you know, Anya Taylor-Joy, sort of. I mean, Saoirse Ronan's been nominated for 1 billion Oscars, but
yeah,
what makes her stand out among that crowd that I think you think that people are so infatuated with, because she is extremely popular in movie circles, but it maybe hasn't quite hit the level that we want it to.
I think there's like an assertiveness that she just like brings out all the time. Like, you know, she'll have that moment like in that argument where they're like talking about her not wanting kids or whatever, where she's just kind of like, actually fuck off. Like,
Yeah.
and it just works. And like Zendaya, she kind of gives you a little bit of that in like Challengers or whatever, where she's like dressing down the other guy that she's not married to, Art, I think is his name. But
he was very turned on by that. He was like, yeah, spit in my mouth now. Like,
yeah,
spit in my face, bro.
Choke me, please, thanks.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the other, like her peers, they have like a kind of softness to them. They kind of like lack edge some of the time. Like, obviously we just saw Anya Taylor-Joy do Furiosa, but like that felt like a departure for her. Whereas like Florence Pugh is like, she just kind of dominates any scene that she's in, you know? And yeah, she's just one of those people who like she starts talking for a little while and you're just automatically compelled no matter what she's saying. She like I said, has that assertiveness to her. Like some of her earlier roles, like Lady Macbeth or you know, like Midsummer or whatever, she's really going for it, really doing some like sick twisted shit that you're just not seeing from some of these other like actresses kind of in her like peer group. And I think she's gonna keep writing that. I think she's gonna keep making these like offshoot career decisions that other people probably wouldn't make at her age, and she's gonna kill it. I mean, she's what, like 27, and she plays a convincing like 35-year-old already. Like it feels like the other actresses in her peer group are kind of going the other way, where they're like 28, 29 and still playing 18-year-olds, and Florence Pugh just isn't doing that. She feels different. She feels like cut from a different cloth.
I wonder what Florence Pugh like it feels like, and it's not like everything she makes is the best thing ever, but it feels like she is looking for certain roles that legitimately interest her, and she's not necessarily doing this is going to make me a bigger star roles. Now, I guess that's hard to say when someone's literally going to be in the center of a Marvel movie. another Marvel movie.
Which I think they've chose to center around her a lot.
Yes, and I think that's a wise decision. I think she's got the most star power of all the people that are kind of like on the chessboard looking for a place to be placed. But it feels like the Marvel stuff, here's the difference. When Zendaya does something like Challengers, it feels like against type, even though it's not. And when Florence Pugh does something like being in the MCU, it doesn't feel like the normal Florence Pugh movie. Florence Pugh movies feel like Midsommar. That's the kind of movie that I picture. Florence Pugh wants to make some weird shit, some cool shit where she gets to express a wide range of emotions. And I'm going to do this other stuff for the check. But I think what wakes her up in the morning is doing the weird shit, doing the cool, grounded human character. Like, I think that's what makes her interesting. And I think like Zendaya is more of a Swiss Army knife. She can be the biggest star in the world. I could also do fucking Euphoria, which is just me basically being the ugliest, nastiest version of myself and going fucking insane. And I feel like she enjoys that just as much as she enjoys being on the set of Spider-Man. And I don't get that sense from Florence Pugh.
Yeah, I will say this about, like, we keep saying Zendaya, but I think it's sort of like, 1A and 1B for them is like sort of the next big thing. And I don't want to dismiss Saoirse Ronan, but she also has like barely been in movies, it feels like, over the past.
I think we should dismiss her. I think I'm joining her hate fan.
No.
What? Why?
I'm not a huge fan. She has not done anything that I love, and y'all know how I feel about Lady Bird.
I watched Lady Bird the other day. It was good. She's the worst person in the world.
It was good.
She's the worst person in the world.
That movie doesn't do anything for me, but most of her films don't do anything for me until Barbie, which is the greatest film of all time. So, but Saoirse Ronan, I don't know, man. She's got to do something that I legitimately love before I can mention her with these other queens, and she's never done anything that I legitimately love. Like, I've never seen it. Never. I'm waiting. I can be convinced, but right now I might be joining her in the Blake Lively hate club.
Relax.
I'm joining these hate clubs.
Okay, first off, you cannot put those two together. No. There is no club in which you can put both of those people. I'm sorry.
Would you like a thrice Academy Award nominated actress or the star
Just pick from Accepted?
Yeah. At least I know the thing that I'm supposed to watch that I would love. Blake Lively, everybody loves Gossip Girl. And so I'm sure if I put that on and watch the first season, I'm like, okay, I'm into Blake Lively now. I don't know what that IP is for Saoirse Ronan. What am I supposed to watch to fall in love with her?
Little Women is great.
Little Women, Brooklyn.
I watched Little Women. I was looking at Florence Pugh and how amazing she was and how mid that film was, but how amazing Florence Pugh was.
Dex is disgusted.
Mid?
I mean, okay, it's better than mid. It's not my favorite.
You're saying you have a Greta Gerwig thing now, is what you're saying.
That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. I have a both thing. To me, they're intertwined because the movies I've seen her have been Greta Gerwig things. If she goes and does something outside of Greta Gerwig and it bangs, I will realize it was never Saoirse Ronan that was letting me down. It was Greta Gerwig, who I generally don't like her movies. Well, that's not true. I like Little Women. I don't love it. It's fine. It's not like Barbie. Barbie is real cinema. That's when I joined Greta Gerwig hype, but everything else I've been either mid on or very low on, like Lady Bird, which didn't do anything for me at all. It just doesn't.
Saoirse Ronan is another one of those actresses who's just like never missed in her life. Like, even if other people are missing around her, she is going to get hers. And she has since she was 15 years old or something.
Young. She was like nominated for an Oscar for Atonement, I think, which was in 2007.
Okay, that Atonement is good. Atonement is good. I'll give her that. Atonement is pretty good.
But anyway, I think like Zendaya and Florence Pugh, they do feel kind of like in that next tier for like they're challenging to be the next Emma Stone, basically.
That's a good. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
That's a very good one.
It's gonna be one of those two. It feels like Anya Taylor-Joy is like kind of she's fallen back to third, I think, pretty comfortably.
Yeah.
Which sucks too
bombing. Because the movie was good, bro.
The movie was good.
Because the movie was good at it. And I would also have Anya a level below this conversation, but not because I actually like the stuff that she's been in. I really like Queen's Gambit. I really like Furiosa. But I don't like you know how Emma Stone has found that vibe of like I make very weird shit, but also it can be like commercial.
Well, she found Yorgos.
She found Yorgos. So I want Saoirse Ronan to find her Yorgos, and I don't want her Yorgos to be Greta Gerwig. I don't want that. I legitimately don't want that.
So Leo and Martin Scorsese for SAG girls.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Basically. Yeah, I mean,
no, I think what is interesting to me about Florence Pugh is, again, I'm going to say this, is that she also, and I don't want to get off into the looks part of this, but like she also feels like normal, where it's like obviously she's in a bunch of ad campaigns for a bunch of stuff, but it's like Zendaya's like a supermodel.
Yeah, I totally agree with this take.
It's insane. Yeah. I am one of the few people who still subscribe to physical magazines, like, you know, your Condé Nast, you know, Set, Vanity Fair, Vogue, etc. Literally
physical media.
Every single month, Zendaya is in like 4 different ad campaigns in every issue of Vogue and Vanity Fair, etc.
She's literally a model, and she looks like it in every film that she's in. Even when she's bumming it with a t-shirt on in Challenger, she still looks like a model. Like, Florence Pugh looks like a normal white woman, and that's power. That's powerful.
Yeah,
they're both powerful in different ways.
Yeah, I think that's part of, I think, the allure of why a lot of people love her. And it's not, you know, Zendaya might be damn near like 6 foot tall, it feels like. Also, she's dating a short king, so it makes her look a lot taller. But like Florence Pugh's like what, 5'2", you know? So it's a lot of that stuff too. And I know we're comparing apples to oranges here, even with their acting styles, but I think I think we got challengers on the brain as well too.
Facts
from the group.
Hard not to have. I always have challengers on the brain.
But also gotta say that Florence Pugh, she's done the thing that will endear you to me forever as an actor or actress, which is
her titties?
No. I mean that too, but no. She has shown a willingness to do her own stunts, which that's the key to the game right there. Once you tell me that you even think about doing your own stunts, I'm in.
You are so cruise-pilled. Do you see it? Cruise-pilling and you see it?
Did y'all see?
If you're willing to die for my entertainment, I love you.
I love you.
Get her in the next $800 million Mission Impossible.
Let's see. Movie. Do we really want Florence Pugh doing stunts for Don't Worry, Darling, and possibly getting hurt for that piece of shit film? I don't know, bro.
But yes.
See, Tom Cruise savior complex is what Dex has right now.
She was really out here doing superhero landings in Black Widow, dog. I'm locked in. We're in it. She was out learning to wrestle. She was wrestling.
Yeah, a movie that also, we go back to it, shouldn't have worked, right?
Shouldn't have worked, but
Fighting with My Family. We did an episode on it. Very good movie.
That movie rules. I need to watch it again at some point.
But yeah, I think I just wanted to say real quick, did y'all see that the next Mission Impossible movie has gone over $400 million and it's actually going to get more expensive? They're not really done with it.
Tom Cruise is a king who wanted to keep people employed during COVID. Run the tab up. I will be there. I will go 3 times if I have to, Tom.
The problem is
more money.
Paramount's trying to write them off. They said they want that to be the last movie in the franchise.
Paramount, you can sell it to someone else, and we can keep having our fucking fun. If you don't like to pay what it costs to make cinema, then just give it to someone else.
With you?
Because the last one, because they scheduled it right between Oppenheimer and Barbie, they did it a week before. They did it the biggest disservice on the planet, and it didn't make what it was supposed to make.
Yeah, that's the dumbest shit in the world. I don't know why they did that. They should have known better than that. But I don't care. Ethan Hunt has to go to space. All right, like that just has to happen.
Facts.
Was he gonna go to space in one of those movies, or was he just gonna go to space in like a completely separate movie?
I'm pretty sure it was a completely separate movie. Is the one that he was like planning to go to like the space station or whatever. I don't know where that ended up, but Ethan Hunt has to go to space, and we have to let Tom Cruise actually do it.
That's
I think so too.
$700 is that gonna cost? Okay, someone pay it. I don't have time to penny pinch. You got into the business of making films, not me. Spend some fucking money and give us cinema.
Give the people what they want. I guarantee you, If you send Tom Cruise into space with an IMAX camera, you're coming back down to Earth with $2 billion.
Facts. People love Top Gun. Top Gun don't go to space. Imagine Top Gun in space. I'm in. Sign me up for that.
Days of Thunder remake?
Yeah.
No, they're doing it. Days of Thunder sequel.
Oh yeah, that's true. They got leaked this week. They are doing it.
I've never even seen Days of Thunder. I really don't even know what it's about, but I'm in.
It's a ride, brother.
It's pure 80s schlock. It's like it's about NASCAR, right?
Yes. And you know what I say? Car sports are stupid, but car sports movies are great. That's what I always say.
I love that Brad Pitt is doing the big F1 movie and Tom Cruise is like, you know what? Fuck you.
Not on my watch. You're going to steal my director and drive cars? Who do you think you are?
I'm going to show you how this shit is done for real. Yeah, I will go out there and I will die.
Brad Pitt driving cars. I hate car sports. You make it cinema. I'm there.
That movie's gonna bang. I don't care what the Rotten Tomatoes is on it. It's just gonna be awesome.
I saw everything I need to see in that trailer. I don't need to know anything else about this film. That film's gonna be great.
The fact that they were at actual F1 events filming shit for that, I'm like, yeah, baby, this is what it's all about.
Joseph Kaczynski got those cameras in those F-18s. He's like, I can fit a camera anywhere. I'll put it in an F1 car, whatever. Yeah, so that was We Live in Time. What are we watching?
We're watching The Penguin.
I still haven't gotten to The Penguin yet. I need to do that. I need to catch up. I spent a couple weeks just like fucking mainlining Outer Banks.
Because you did an interview.
I did an interview.
Push the interview.
Yeah, I interviewed Jonathan Davis, who plays Pope, and Austin North, who plays Topper from Outer Banks. It's up on the Watch with Apollo YouTube channel. Go check it out. But yeah, I'm in the Outer Banks now. The shit rules. Season 4, part 2 drops on Thursday night, and I'll be doing that to help cure my election anxiety. So,
what's happening? We got something. I've been gone. Do we have something happening?
Yeah. You know, it's the fate of the free world is at stake over the next few days. So
casual. Okay, cool.
We'll see.
I'm also watching Lioness. What's the guy who makes Yellowstone?
Taylor Sheridan.
With Zoe Saldana. Season 2. Season 1 was way more fire than it had any reason to be, so I'm tapped into season 2. And I'm going to tap back into Agatha. I only watched the first episode. I was kind of bored, but people said it's been great, so I'm going to tap back into that.
You got on here and slandered that show.
That first episode was so boring, but people have been loving it. I can't speak past anything for the first episode. I was bored as shit. But people are like, no, go. It gets better. So I'm going to tap back in once I'm done with The Penguin, probably.
Before I left, I watched the Saturday Night movie about the first episode of Saturday Night Live.
To get to that.
It's probably already going to be out on VOD, so you can probably find it. But it was good. It wasn't great. I thought it was like chaotic, and it's mostly done in a lot of like one take stuff and steady cam. But I thought the performances were good. I thought the story was pretty funny at points, and it was really raucous, and it flies by. I said it was a movie. People may scoff at this, but I said it was a movie made by Gen X, starring millennials with the pace for Gen Z. And I think it goes a long way. I think it's a Sony film, so once it drops on Netflix, I think people are really going to be like, "Oh shit!" I'm
definitely going to tap into that once it's out.
That was really good. As far as other things, I turned on The Lincoln Lawyer on Netflix because there's just like 4 seasons of that shit, and
everyone says that shit is great.
I love the original movie, and Tej, you should watch. As a lawyer, I think this is about you. The Tesla lawyer
about us.
Once I realized that there was no McConaughey, I was like, okay, I'm probably not going to tap into that. But people have been loving it, so I'm going to tap in at some point.
Yeah, it's with one of the guys from the Denzel Magnificent Seven movie.
Okay.
So it's pretty good. It's like a show that you would have seen on CBS or ABC 10 years ago, 15 years ago, but they just say cuss words in it. So it just makes it, that much more gritty, but it's procedural kind of, or not procedural, but it is follows the sort of the same beats as the movie, which I love that movie. I have like a weird place in my heart for that mid-tier McConaughey movie. So yeah, The Lincoln Lawyer on Netflix. Season 4 just dropped as well. But yeah, also watching a lot of sports. Baylor football isn't embarrassing me. Looks like Baylor basketball is right now.
Baylor basketball looks pretty stinky, bros.
So that's fun.
Pretty stinky.
Love that.
The Rockets won tonight, though, so that's all that really matters because Gonzaga is cooking. They got this is their get back for that national championship fiasco. Can't embarrass them.
Yeah,
so this is their get back.
This will not. You can't embarrass me on a basketball court for 10 more years. Even if they beat us by 100 tonight, doesn't matter.
Also, yeah, this is game 1 of the regular season. Like,
yeah.
We took away a perfect season from y'all in the national championship game in embarrassing fashion. Like, it won't be topped. Sorry.
You're going to be talking shit online, bros.
Don't care.
All 7 of them.
15 folks in Spokane can't hurt me. Sorry. All right. So, yeah, quick podcast. That has been a One Take podcast. You can find us at One Take Pod on all your platforms. Go rate us 5 stars, listen, download, subscribe, rate, review. We really appreciate it. Go find Dex's interview. You can find him at Watch with Apollo a lot, or Apollo HOU on TikTok and YouTube and everything else. The website, apollohou.com. You can find Teej's football podcast, which those rankings are coming out soon. So y'all are going to have some fun with that at the Slander U. You can find that really funny podcast. And yeah, you can't find me anywhere else. Don't look me up. But thank you so much for liking, downloading, and subscribing. Dex, one of the few Florence Pugh movies that we'd actually got to review where she was the lead in it. What are we doing?
# support Florence Pugh, baby. Woo! We're not done yet. Thunderbolt's coming soon.
Exactly. All right.